All right, welcome everybody to Wednesday's Product Spotlight on Dave Cooper Live. Today we have Sprayar on the show. What is Sprayar? Well, it is a new offsite construction solution inspired by component and modular manufacturers who want to offer more complete panels, helping prefabricators serve their customers better. Sprayar allows prefabricators to spray energy-efficient spray foam into modular and offsite built panels. Automation enhanced by a cloud app documents the quality of every single panel before and after spraying. Today, we will meet the Sprayar team, Tomasz Cwik, Lisa Render, and Erik Metz, who came together to address labor shortages, safety, and provide manufacturers with a more energy-efficient solution. Each passionate about how automation and robotics can address housing affordability, energy efficiency, advanced methods of construction, and safety for our workforce. Today, we will learn this insulation solution and how it can help modular and component manufacturers efficiently offer more value. So, at Dave Cooper Live, we are bringing you the people and the processes that are building it better. Our guests and topics include experts in building systems, building science, and building codes to the tech used to build it better. We are always seeking out the best and the brightest in construction and discovering all of the ways that innovative buildings come to life. And guess what? We cannot do this without our sponsors. So with that said, we want to thank Forward Solutions Group, Ben Hershey and Joe Butler. They are a team with more than 175 years of experience developing and specifying manufacturing for panelized, volumetric, and modular industries with best practices in development and implementation. They offer consulting with investors, developers, manufacturers, and builders in using off-site manufacturing methods. Forward Solutions is driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Please reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com for more information. And also, we want to thank Howick. Howick is a pioneer in the technology of precision light steel roll forming machines. For over 40 years, their commitment to innovation in cold form steel, also known as light gauge steel, precision manufacturing, uncompromising quality, and exemplary customer service have defined the Howick way. Their commitment underpins the competitive advantage enjoyed by their customers. To learn more, visit their website, howickltd.com. So again, thank you very much to all of our sponsors out there. Let's hop into our show. So why don't we bring on our guests today? We will start with Lisa, then Thomas, and now Erik. Welcome to the show, all of you.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Hey, so this is exciting, right? And I'm going to tell you why it's exciting for me. I have been in the modular building industry, offsite components industry for over 20 years. And for 20 years of my life as a builder prior to doing the Dave Cooper Live show, I paid. It was horrible trying to get somebody to put spray insulation into our homes on the manufacturing assembly floor. So with what you are doing, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to having this conversation. I'm looking forward to the rest of the world in the manufacturing industry, offsite and components industry, learning about this, because this is now a solution that will be available to them to offer this to all of their clients, consumers, passive house builders, all of these people. So this is going to be a fun conversation. I'm not excited. Not at all. Not at all. All right. So before we get into what Sprayar is and how it all came to be, as always, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital. Got it, Erik? Or we will call your mother. We will call your mother. We have been known to do this. In fact, we'll invite them on the show to tell us the real truth. But why don't we start with you, Erik? Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got involved in this, and then Thomas, and then we'll wrap up with Lisa. Go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, so my name is Erik. I'm leading the technical development in Sprayar. I'm originally from Germany. I grew there up. And also in my childhood, I had a kind of passion for technology. So we had a little farmhouse, and every day, every weekend, my father and I had something to work together. And with this in mind, I started my career or work career at the age of 15 where I did an apprenticeship as in mechatronics. After that, I worked, now for more than 15 years in a robotics department in a bigger company. And get there a lot of experience about robots, technology, programming, and so on. And so far we started with Sprayer, and I'm one of the pillars of the technical development team.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Perfect. So, all right, Tomasz, it is now your opportunity to come on the show. And I don't know if everybody's seeing it. There's some delays happening somewhere out there, but hopefully it's not coming through to you. But Tomasz, you are next up. Tell us a little about who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Tomasz Cwik, and I'm the person who started at the time the project. And who's been leading it entire time, and I lead the Sprayar now as well. I originally come from Poland. I was born in, at the time, communist country, and then it was interesting to grow up from having nothing there in shops to having everything nowadays. So that was extremely interesting experience. I studied later automatics and robotics. Moved to the UK, where I finished PhD in aerospace engineering and composite materials. And afterwards, I moved to Germany because I wanted actually to learn another language. And also the job opportunity was very attractive. That was at BASF. And I joined the research as a high-performance materials expert. And a few years down the road, I actually moved to innovation. And this is where I had the first encounter with construction. So at the time, we are looking to construction, what's happening around the world, what are the trends, what are the opportunities. And out of that, basically came Sprayar. We did the first prototype back in Germany successfully. And once that was delivered, I was offered to move to the US. And I've been here in the US since about 3 years. And I'm looking forward to the Sprayar journey. That's a very new thing. And hope you enjoy the show today. Dave, there are some problems, I think, with you're muted.
I think there's a little lag, but I'll go ahead and go. And I kind of want to address somebody's question out there who may be about Erik starting work at the age of 15. This isn't a child labor issue, I promise you. That is actually normal in Germany, that high school students end up their high school career at the age of 15, 16, and then will go to university and work at the same time. So it's just a little different structure than we have here in the US. No child labor laws were broken in this process. As far as who I am, Lisa Render. I've been, I was born and raised in Southern California, moved to Michigan about 25 years ago. And I've spent the last 16 years in construction. I actually tested out 7 different industries before I found construction. But now that I found it, I'm pretty well set and have found my home. I have a passion for right-sized housing, for affordable housing, and building a better world one home at a time.
All right. So, hopefully everybody can hear me. I don't know what's going on right now, but as I told everybody, if it can go wrong, it will on this show. And for some reason on my end, I'm having some glitching going on. All right, so Lisa, and let's hop into this. I'm going to keep working through some of my technical difficulties. I know everybody can hear me out there. Why don't you start us off? What is Sprayar? And listen, why did you guys finally wake up and say, oh my gosh, we need a solution to the modular panelization components industry for this to be used within the manufacturing line?
Yeah. So
okay, that's a few questions all at once. Tomasz, do you want to start at the beginning with what is Sprayar?
Yeah, maybe you take the second part. That will be easier. Yeah, sure. So Sprayar, it's an automated foam spraying system designed for offsite manufacturers that allows them to apply foam in a fully automated manner, basically. Our offering consists of a few components. First one is the robotic cell, then of course the material, the foam we provide, and finally the software that enables you controlling the cell and also provides documentation for you. So this whole thing originated, as we already said, a few years ago, when we are actually talking to offsite manufacturers and panelizers and asking them about foam. And we saw they were actually interested in foam, in higher R value it offers, and also the air barrier it provides. But at the time, they were concerned a bit about the fact that it can be a messy process sometimes when it's done manually, and also about potential health risk that may arise. And for those of you who don't know, when you spray foam manually, you have to have a special suit and the mask and all the spraying equipment, and it has to be conducted in the right way. And the site has to be closed down as well for that period. So having that in mind, we actually designed a cell, a fully encapsulated cell that takes care of the safety aspect, because it's connected to exhaust system that takes out all the volatiles. And of course, we put a robot inside to make it completely harmless. And basically, the robot does the job for you. You sit outside, you just press play like on Spotify, and it basically goes and does it for you, as you will see in a few minutes. Moreover, I can add to it also that this is a small thing that you might not realize, but actually when manual sprayers are on site, they actually, if the weather suddenly changes, they actually adjust the proportioner slightly, the temperature and pressure, to get this right quality they want to deliver. And they do it continuously. It's basically part of the job. So in our case, this actually is not taking place because we have a humidity and temperature sensors in the cell. And when anything like that changes, so for example, the cell is next to your door where you're unloading the panels and you open the door and the wind blows, we actually detect it, and the software automatically adjusts everything on the fly without you basically taking care of that. It's software does it everything for you. So yeah, that's what SprayR is.
So, hopefully everybody can hear me. Thumbs up. We're doing back. All right. Had to make some computer changes here. So I get it, right? I mean, here you have a fully automated system that you guys have come up with that, push of a button, it allows manufacturers on site to put this in place. Can you guys, how did you come together on this? Give me the history of how did the four of you come together to bring all this information and this technology to the forefront for manufacturing? I'm just curious.
Okay, I'll kind of go over that one. And you kind of heard during Tomas's introduction kind of how his journey happened within this group. But basically, at the very beginning, SprayR originated a few years ago. It was one of their innovation projects. They were analyzing the global construction market, and they saw the opportunity to support specifically the offsite construction market with an automated solution. So at the very beginning, Tomasz identified a panelizer who was actually interested in helping us shape that software and helping us to kind of develop the process. So we actually had a lot of interaction with multiple, I want to say panelizers and or offsite construction companies. And then we had some builder input as well while we were developing the process. The builders had input on speed, as did some of the offsite construction companies. And then the panelizers actually had more input on the software end of things and reporting things that they needed and different things that they needed it to have and to do. So there was a lot of kind of back and forth on that. We visited with the original company kind of several times over that process to, make sure we had everything dialed in, and it really just flowed organically kind of from that relationship. Sure. So once that was solidified, we put our pilot plant in place and started building our own wall panels. Literally built both wood and steel panels, wall panels there at the site to get spraying. And it's been a fun process.
Yeah, sure. So let's talk about, what are we solving for? Who's going to get the most benefit out of this in your minds?
Yeah, realistically, I think there's a lot of different types that do. It can either be a panelizer or it can be modular, but it's also going to be people who are struggling, with labor. It's one more station that you can free up because it's minimal required. You're basically, you're looking to make sure you got the right panel in place, you hit play and it just goes and it sprays and you move it out and the next one comes in. So it kind of addresses the labor issue. But what I really think it does as well is it gives the opportunity to spray a higher quality and a higher R value insulation that still gives you that air barrier and vapor control layer, and it adds the structural integrity, which leads into anybody wanting to do advanced framing. This is a perfect solution for them because that closed cell spray foam is giving you that structural enhancement.
Right.
It kind of allows you to do that.
Yeah, sure. And in a controlled environment, on the production floor, in the manufacturing line, all of these things, and we're going to get into showing how this actually works and what the benefits are. Let's talk about why spray foam. Why, like the product that you have picked. It's not something you buy off the shelf, right?
That's correct. Realistically, when in part of Tomas's investigation and talking with the different people, that was one of the things that was identified, is that more of them wanted the spray foam, and that was to be able to more easily either meet the building codes and the ACH requirements for building the tighter envelopes, as well as a lot of the modular companies are moving more towards, providing that healthier home, and they wanted the benefits of the air barrier to help with their indoor air quality. So we identified that as it's difficult to do without the automation. And that was, I think, one of the biggest things that we solved was the ability to do that in a safe manner indoors. Sure.
So let's get into it. Let's start taking a look at how this works, how the application happens. I really want to talk about how it works. And I'm not just talking from a physical installation aspect of it. There's a lot of qualities to this foam. And, I know you guys would want to talk about it a little bit from a healthy benefit standpoint. You don't have to close off an entire area or move product out of lines, because of the health of other workers, all of these different things that have always been a concern up until now. So how does it work?
Yeah, so we prepared some graphics for that. So visually, it's always better to show it. And I guess everyone can see it now. So at the top left, you can see the completed wall panel going into the spray booth where it gets sprayed. But beforehand, we take a picture of the wall, and also afterwards to document the spraying process. From there, it either goes to the job site to get installed, or in a modular setting where it goes to the area where the unit is being assembled. When we maybe go on the next slide, we also prepared a short video that shows you how the robot is spraying. So first, we start with the picture framing. You can see how precise the robot sprays. It is air sealing wall cavity as it seals up the seam between sheeting and studs. The simple to use software takes over the whole spraying strategy. So you as the operator don't need to know Sprayfoam or robotics. You don't need to know how humidity or temperature affects Sprayfoam, and you don't need to know about the spraying process or spraying techniques, as Tomasz mentioned before. So the whole strategy is implemented in the robot, and the operator doesn't have to think about the technical side of things. You as the operator simply verify the correct panel is loaded in the booth, press start, visually verify the spray is good, and if there is a little overspray, scrape it off quickly and the drywall goes on smoothly.
Yeah, and maybe I'll show now the second part, and that is the software actually. So this is a part which comes before the robot sprays. And we actually spoke to multiple panelizers and modular manufacturers, and they told us quite bluntly, guys, we're not planning to learn for a month something to work like iPhone. Oh, there's some noise. And it has to be easy to use. So that's what we basically did. We designed a software that requires from you literally no know-how in spraying or programming robots. So I'm loading a wall panel in here, selecting a cell to upload. And if you saw that, I actually selected Detroit. And this is the first point where you can have savings. If you have multiple sites, you only need one person to actually deploy it to different sites. So that's the first benefit of the software. Then, as you can see, it's calculating paths. So you are not interacting yet with it, and it's actually doing the job for you. So it recognizes the cut geometry, fills it with the robotic pattern, that is this white lanes, and you simply have to check it's fine and click export. So that's pretty much everything that you have to do. Within 3 clicks, everything is done, and the job goes to a queue, and you just deploy it on the robot. As I mentioned before, you just press play, and it goes simply to the robot.
Wow.
Dave, you're probably my age. You remember George Jetson, right? That was his job, to press that button all day long. That's kind of what we've created here.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, lost him again.
Let's wait a second. And I mean, we're happy to take any questions in between if there's such. I think that has not happened before on the show.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. But I think we got everything back up and running. So at least I heard yes when I was you said when I was your age, right? That was the last thing, but I think we're all squared away. I'm not really sure what went on here, so my apologies. But let's hop back into this now. Go finish what you were saying there, Lisa, and I'm going to catch right back up with you.
Oh, basically, I was just saying you're about my age, so you remember George Jetson, and his whole job was to press that button. That's about how easy this software is to use at this point.
Yeah, no, right. So, I mean, this is what's really interesting. So when we talk about the production line, the workers on the line, I see a lot of benefits to what you're doing, not only, from the sprayer installation, but from the workforce development side too, because this brings somebody that wants to use new technology, it brings robotics to manufacturing as well. But I think the reality of this is when we think of manufacturing and we run the lines and we're talking about, it's all about you can't slow up the line, right? Production is production. How do we do this without pulling things off the line? And your process not only allows it to happen in line with the production, but it also speeds it up a little bit as well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually, during the development phase, as we were talking to potential customers, they actually gave us specification of their speed, linear feet per day or per hour. And we were far faster than most of the lines, manual or semi-automated, automated. And only once it actually happened that we got a target time, which was ambitious. But it took us 2 weeks actually to reprogram the robot or the cloud brain, and we met this timing. So yeah. All
right. So let's talk about where the testing of this is. And, you guys this has been in a facility now for some time. So this isn't a concept. This is a proven process that's out there. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that process went and developing, and I mean, hey, good, bad, and indifferent, right? I'm sure there was some ups and downs, some trials that you guys went through. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, so we started small at the very beginning. We had only the proof of concept was a robot connected to cloud, and the assumption was, can we steer the robot from the cloud so that we don't have to program the robot? That was the first thing, and that was done in Germany. And later, as we proved that it actually everything works, we put in place in Detroit a production scale facility. We call it pilot plant, but it's actually a production scale. So we can spray 12 by 10 or 11 feet walls over there. And ever since, we've been basically practicing and refining the software in that facility.
So, all right, here we are. You got all the production. You have SprayR happening on the line. Let's talk about some of the health benefits. Let's talk about, what does this do not only for the workers in the manufacturing facility and on the plant outside of just, hey, finally we can do spray foam in the manufacturing plant. But there's other benefits to what it offers. Can we talk a little bit about that? And then let's talk about, what applications this can be used on next after that. Wood, steel, concrete, whatever the case may be.
Now, when you're talking about the other benefits, are you talking specific to building science or more from inside the factory from a safety perspective?
Yep.
Building science?
I think it's a little bit of both. From a factory standpoint, there is a safety factor in this that makes your foam completely different than others that are on the market.
Okay. Yeah, actually, the foam that we're using is a specially formulated foam, and it has the ability to spray faster than a traditional foam would. So it's able to help keep that pace with the production. That was one of the changes. And then one of the other factors is the, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
Hey, that's okay. I lost my video. I lost my sound. I lost everything today. So, but that's all right. So let me pick up on that. So you can be right next to this as it's going down the line. It can be spraying and you don't have to worry about the safety factor of somebody to the left or right of it, for one, right? Also, when you're doing bad insulation with fiberglass and all this other stuff, right, there's some hazards that go with that as well that people have to be aware. So this is really, from a liability standpoint on a manufacturing line, correct me if I'm wrong, this helps reduce some of that liability because it's a healthier and it's not a labor where somebody has had to handle a fiberglass type material, correct?
You're absolutely right. And that's one of the safety features that's built in is the robot literally won't kick off if there's somebody in that booth. It's set up that it will only operate if both doors are closed and there's nobody in there. So that's another safety feature that has been put in place on this. And then one of the other really cool software things that we haven't talked about yet, but I think is helpful for both the modular and panelizers as well as the builders and developers, is that it's based on zip codes that it will already know what the minimum code requirement is. So if you're in an area that requires an R13, it knows exactly how thick it needs to spray that foam. And if you're in an area that needs an R19, it knows exactly how thick to spray that foam. And if you're spraying to continuous insulation, it's going to adjust to count that R value in. So it always has the ability to spray the exact amount that's needed.
Sure. In this app, because a lot of the manufacturing facilities are going paperless and they have computers at each station now with the plans or with whatever documents happening, depending on their level of automation. That app, like you just said, allows you at a push of a button to control whatever that piece of the building you're spraying calls for. Right there in real time. Nobody has to sit there and run to the warehouse to get R13 or R19 or R21. It's there.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we actually have implemented, again, talk to the actual customers and implemented a feature that allows, for example, a production manager or a company owner to see different things from their perspective, what they want to see. And also we have a very rich documentation, and maybe I'll share my screen now again. This is the last slide I promise we have.
More slides, the better. We love them.
You should. Can you see them?
Yep. Good to go.
So as Erik mentioned, we actually take a picture before spraying and then after spraying. And if you spray multiple layers, because that can happen as well, we take a picture also every layer. So you have a full documentation of the job that was done. So you know who did it, what time, what shift even it actually came from. Because one of the customers told us as well that they want to know from which shift it comes from, because they had defects, which they only found at the construction site. Then you have the dimensions of the panel and the weight. You have the cell status, so you can assure that the cell was actually set up with the right settings. And of course, as I mentioned, you have image documentation of everything that's been done.
So there's a data trail for the product that's going out the door, not just for each building, but for each module or panel of that building. So when it leaves, there's photo proof and there's documentation of what has happened. So in the field, if they had to troubleshoot something, run something, everybody knows where everything is. Yes.
Exactly. And even more, they can, if the panelizer or modular manufacturer wants, they can share this info with builders who wants to actually have those information, and these in consequence could even share it with actual customers, homeowners, to show how the house was done and that the quality was the right one.
Right, which is super important, and it's an added value benefit for the manufacturer or for the builder who's selling to the consumer. That you have this documentation, and we're using high tech technology to really make sure we're delivering you a stronger, more secure home.
I think a lot of builders struggle to sell that value add of the spray foam, but actually having that documentation and being able to show the quality of what's in the wall, and you can actually see how thick it was sprayed. It kind of changes that parameter, and it gives them something to look at to give it that sense of I'm getting something for this. For sure.
But so I'm going to dive into this a little bit more. I got some making up to do since I'm the one who had technical issues over here. I don't know if it's a power surge or not. So we got some time to make up, but we're going to make sure we get to everything. Spray foam is known for its insulating values, but it also has other values when it comes to structural components of a building. Now, when you're spraying this, when you're a modular manufacturer, right, and you're shipping a home, you get cracks above the doors and the headers and those weak, loose areas. And spray foam typically helps bind these things together tighter, makes it a more of an airtight structure. Are we getting the same properties with your spray foam as you would with other spray foam on site when they spray it and it ties it all and binds it tight?
Absolutely. And I think that's another kind of a hidden benefit almost, is if, spray foam itself it's a 4-in-1 product. There's 4 big benefits to it, and 5 if you live in a flood zone. Your primary one's the high R value, your secondary one's that air barrier. I think that's a really critical one, and we're finally coming to terms and understand the value of that. And then the vapor control layer that it provides, and that structural enhancement that you talk about. The 5th one, again, it's the only product, closed cell spray foam, that's approved in a flood zone, and this would qualify for that. But back to your question on the structural integrity, if you're a panelizer even, and you've got a closed wall panel that you're shipping out, if you're putting an inch and a half of spray foam in there, or 2 inches, whatever you're putting in there, that's adding to that structural integrity of that wall panel. So that even if you get a little bit of shifting, so it's not quite square and plumb, when you get to the job site, that's going to kind of lock that all in place, and it's not shifting as it goes down the road. And in a modular perspective, in your mind, because you've already been there, that was your world for 20 years, Dave.
Yeah.
It's going to help with those drywall cracks, nail pops, little shiftings of doorways and things like that, because it does add that structural integrity. When we've done wall panels specifically with closed cell spray foam, we're able to go from 2x6 down to 2x4. And the difference between having fiberglass or a loose fill in there versus spray foam is you get about a 30% structural bump in the integrity of that wall.
So there's a cost savings there. A lot of manufacturers used to just, and then maybe they still do, or just glue and not even use screws and nails and all of that. So with the spray R foam, if they're using this process, does that help them? And maybe you don't know this yet or not, but does that help them cut down on other components needed to secure that wall? So does that bring added value and safety? I don't know. I think something I would look at.
There are some testing that's been done specific to the BASF HP Plus wall system that kind of gives you that structural value, the equivalency report that can be used to do your calculations. So if you're in a seismic area, or if you're in a high wind zone, that it'll tell you, you can remove so many, ties and things like that for adding that structural integrity. Yes.
Right. Oh, great. All right, we're going to get into more of this. I'm going to be nailing them in their brains and getting some information out of them. But we're going to move to the field next and how this works in the field as well. But first, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Tomasz, why are we live on Twitch?
Are you asking
Because
me?
the cool kids are on Twitch. That's what you're supposed to say.
I'm obviously too old already for that.
You are.
Yeah, the cool kids are on Twitch. You know, this is we're trying to reach the younger generation. And guess what? You're using robotics, you're using apps and iPads and computers as part of what you are bringing to the building industry, which is a value add to a manufacturer as they're trying to find the best and smartest minds out there to come work at their manufacturing facility. And I also see this, and we're going to go to comments and questions here in just a second. I also see this as an easy step for any manufacturer to implement into their line without slowing up their line today on how busy they are, right? Because I talk to a lot of people. Well, Dave, we're just real busy. You know, we can't slow our lines up, ... But then when the market goes the other way, you know, people get furloughed and then they go in that holding and, you know, I can't do anything mode. But this is a way for them to speed up production, you know, control some of their liability and put something in their line that's not going to slow them down. And I think that's a real value add. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can already see that.
Perfect.
You're absolutely right. And it also gives them the ability to differentiate, you know, when things do slow down a little bit. You've got a very different product that you're offering.
Right. For sure. For sure. Okay, let's go to some comments, Jennifer. What do we have out there? Who's out there? I bet Mark's in the audience. Oh, Aaron Peterson's in the house. I've put a lot of closed loop polyurethane spray foam. What is your application? And are you franchised or are you selling just equipment? Great question. Thank you, Aaron. Who wants to take it?
Let me take that. Neither nor. We are providing actually everything to you. So it's equipment. It's, as I mentioned, it's a software as a one package, and we're providing a foam. And foam, it's special grade of basically that is suitable for automated application, and that will be provided by our strategic partner, BASF.
We include training and everything else. We provide everything but George Jetson to make this happen.
Yeah.
You know, if you can provide George Jetson, you probably would not be on my show. You'd have much bigger show to be on, but awesome. George Ryman in the house, repeatable, so we don't have to start a new design from scratch every time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mark, Bill, small Casistas Willie. You know, it's funny. I always call him Bare Naked Willie. He puts this long Casistas and small, and it gets me all confused. Mark Willie from our BS Friday show in the house. I'm sure Mark likes this product, huh? Love the video and feedback of the play and spray button of SprayR. Thank you, Mark. Press SprayR like on Spotify. That's right. Or Mark, press SprayR like that like and share button on our social media channels.
Yeah. And subscribe.
That's the t-shirt there. Perfect.
Thanks
Perfect.
for being here, Mark.
Yeah. Always helping out. All right. Next comment, please. No Swag Media. Congratulations on 1,000 YouTube subscribers, Dave. Woo! I guess we just hit 1,000. I knew we were like one away. Hey, we're growing. And if you're out there and you are not following us, please hit that like and share button and go to our YouTube channel and subscribe so you can see the replay of this and all the other shows that we have done. We're pushing hundreds and hundreds of different interviews and shows, so there's a lot to be seen there. Jerry McCaughey from Integra. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Jerry.
Morning.
I could see this technology falling in line with that Integra automation you got going on there. Just saying. All right. Ben Hershey in the house. Tomasz, Lisa, and Eric. Great product invention for the market. Ben Hershey, Forward Solutions Group, one of our sponsors of today's show. Outstanding, outstanding people and integrity like no other. Okay. Oh, there he is, Mr. Jerry. He's busy today. Look forward to learning how we can install this into our production. There you go, Jerry.
Yeah.
Put it out. I don't even think you need to learn. I think you should just say, come out here, install it in my manufacturing plant. We're just going to move forward with it.
Yeah.
Right? All right. We got Mark in the house. Health air barrier, vapor barrier, great insulation, structural rigidity, and sealed edges. With increased R value from SprayR, the building will require less energy to operate. The computer can adjust to the minimum or maximum to add more savings. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. He wouldn't know anything about energy efficiency and savings. I don't know. I wouldn't believe a word he said. Just teasing you, buddy. Buzz Holowitzer in the house, working hard in West Michigan.
Yay.
Hey, Buzz, thank you. Everybody loves Buzz.
And
Someday I think he needs to show up with that Buzz Aldrich, the helmet, like the kids, Buzz Lightyear. He's everywhere, this guy. Aaron Peterson, man, I'm getting a full day of Aaron, this is awesome. What's up, Cooper? You're always killing it, showing us how to change the world in a big way. Hey, we appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you so much for saying that. Greg Ugaldi. You guys know who Greg Ugaldi is?
Not personally.
Greg Ugaldi is the immediate past chairman of NAHB. He is the guy that walks in and updates the president of the United States a couple times a year and works on help driving our industry forward, fighting codes and lobbying for us in Washington, D.C. He's been a big advocate of our show. He's on our show once a month now. That's how much he's enjoying what we do. And you know what? It's just the collaboration is just growing and growing and growing in our industry. So, Greg, we always love it when you tune in. So you guys got the attention of Greg Ugaldi. That's always a good thing.
Excellent.
That is always a good thing for sure. All right, let's get back into this. So we talked about the benefits of how this works on the production line. We talked about the benefits and health safety benefits for the workers in the manufacturing facility. We've talked about the structural integrity that it adds to the build when they're using this, and the safety and health factors of the R value, or the R value and the safety of what the foam is when it comes to healthy spray versus what's out there on the market, right? Let's talk about what happens when it gets to the site. How do you finish insulating, right? If we're building in components, how do we finish that process in the field once it leaves the manufacturing facility?
That's a great question. And that's actually something that's going to depend if it's a modular, obviously, or a panelizer. So if it's a modular, they're just going to finish it up within their facility as they always have. You're going to want to put spray foam in the rims and bands. And this is a little bit back to that building science you wanted to talk about earlier, Dave, because you want to keep that air sealing benefit throughout. So you're going to put that in the rims and bands, and then you can either finish your roofs, attics as you currently are, or what I did in my house, and I would recommend to somebody who's doing this, particularly where you're looking for that better indoor air quality, is to put that 1 to 1.5 inch spray foam on the lid of the ceiling, and then add the fluffy stuff on top to to finish off your R value there. Now for a panelizer, it's going to look very different in that they're going to send out the wall panels, with that spray foam in there. Then when it gets on site, again, the on-site installation company is going to come out to finish that off, and the same recommendations go in place. But the reality is, in this case, because most of the spray foam has already been applied, rather than sending out those huge trucks with the big units, they're actually able to use a smaller spray foam unit when they're just doing the rims and bands. They could take those smaller drums and actually just send out a normal van or a pickup truck to do that on site. So they don't have to bring as big of a vehicle to the site to perform that. And instead of only having 2 or 3 rigs to do that, almost every one of their teams can go out and do that little bit of finish up.
Sure. So it can be installed in the manufacturing facility and finished off on site. It doesn't sound like there's any different process than how others are doing it today.
Not really, no.
Right. And with the Spray-R foam, I'm just curious, is there going to be mobile applications for it in the future to where they can take it, the contractor can buy like a mobile application of the Spray-R? Will that be available?
We thought about it. Lots of people suggested it in the past. It's just when you look at what's happening into robotics nowadays, because we started a few years ago, actually, that is not beyond imagination, definitely. But for the moment, we are not focusing on it because we see actually prefabrication market as an advantage to the whole community, construction community, and reducing this on-site time. So we don't want to add more stuff on-site. We want to take stuff from site off-site. So that's our philosophy, at least for time being. But yeah, technology could be extended to a mobile one.
I'm starting to like your way of thinking, Thomas, because it makes no sense to keep building the way we build And it's I almost want to say touche. You got me on that one, but you're absolutely right. If we're doing panelized and components, right, that's different than modular. So there's always going to be some portion of this being on site. So
I can actually see going in and doing a floor deck and being able to spray the bulk of the rims and bands there in the factory in that particular case. Yeah. So I do see that as being a potential option in an offsite manner.
Sure. So moving forward, where do you see Sprayar heading? What do you see? What's the future outlook for Team Sprayar? I mean, I can see it on marathon shirts, Team Sprayar. But what do you guys see as the future outlook in manufacturing, R&D, any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, for the moment, we are focusing on automated foam spraying, and we still have to learn a lot from our customers. The processes and their production plans differ from side to side, literally. So there's always something to adjust, something to make better. So that's our core focus. And in the future, we'll see. We have lots of ideas, lots of potential. So it's definitely not the end.
Sure. You mentioned something there that I want to talk about. You're right. Manufacturing lines are all different, right? So every installation is a unique process, right, with your team. And where you fit that in. How does somebody, if they say, hey, Thomas or Erik, you've been awfully quiet down there. I'm going to have to get you into the show a little bit more. I'm interested in this product. I'm super busy. I don't want to slow up my lines. How do I get started talking with you to figure out, how would I implement your product in the future?
So we have set up this product that it's a fully automated cell on itself. So we build it up at your line and adjust it to your process that is before or afterwards. So it comes as a box, I would say, literally. Sure, it's a really big booth, right, with a robot in it. It's not a box, but you can think of it as a box where the walls are coming in and out. And we will adjust it to your site as it needs to be, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, this is to me such a big deal because again, with my years of experience in building, this is always we got flash and bat and this and that, and you get charged an arm and a leg because they gotta pull it off the line and put it back in the line. So I remember that. So this is really something that the industry has needed for a long time. And with automation and with new technology and energy efficiency building and passive house and all these different things that are now being worked into the building code, I mean, the future is going to be saying this is happening. So one way or the other, manufacturers are going to have to adjust for the codes that are coming out to save energy, to build better homes, to build healthier homes. So this falls in line, and I think your timing's spot on for, what's coming down the pipeline, when it comes to how we have to build future homes.
So think back, Dave, when you had your modular factory 20 years ago and the codes were changing. What if it already knew, which code was being implemented when, and it automatically just adjusted everything for you, so you didn't have to, make a huge change or difference. It just automatically knew what it had to spray, and it just did it. I think that's a huge benefit. And then that higher R value, so you don't have to go to bigger studs. You just go a little bit more foam, and you're good to go.
Yeah, for sure. And just to be clear, I have not had a manufacturing company. I was a builder. Okay. And we had 3 locations, and we were using manufacturing companies in different, states. And I have to tell you, when you work with several of them, you really see a lot of similarities. And we all had the same problem with getting spray foam and building in New England where we were building. We had a clientele where we were doing a first-time home all the way up to multi-million-dollar structures in Greenwich, Stamford, Hamptons, on the islands, and they wanted this. And that was a really hard thing for, we can flash and bat, we can do a little spray, when every builder next to you is doing spray foam in those areas. So I know this pain very well, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. So this is a big deal. Products being designed today for manufacturing offsite assembly, right? For assembly, DFMA, designed for manufacturing assembly. This falls right in line with that. let's talk about what's happening in the market, what's happening with supply chain, and moving this forward. Are you feeling the same crunch as 95% of all the other people in the supply chain?
We are feeling the same crunch as 100% of the people in the supply chain.
Yeah.
And it's actually a little bit of a stumbling block. You know, it's a great time to launch because of the industry right now, but it's a bad time to launch because of the industry right now. It's that double-edged sword in that we're actually under force majeure rulings, just like every other person out there. So it's definitely a temporary situation, and we hope, along with everybody else, that there's an end coming to it very soon.
Yeah. Well, we all hope that. It still boggles my mind how we even ended up in this supply chain mess in our industry. But hey, it is what it is. The fact that you're still driving forward, coming up with solutions for the industry, I think is great. All right. So Erik, Thomas, Lisa, what have we not covered? What have we not covered that we should talk about? We can talk about your cats, your dogs, your kids, whatever you want. But I prefer to keep it about Sprayar.
Did I go over the global warming potential difference of the foam that we're spraying?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, because I think that's a big point that not everybody kind of fully grasps, but particularly as you're moving more towards the net zero and going with those thicker ones, that decreased global warming potential in the foam that we're using certainly makes a big difference when you're comparing, a global warming potential of 1 versus the, 90% of the market's currently using ones that are somewhere, closer in the 2,400, 3,400 range.
Sure. Well, can you break that down so we get a lot of people that don't really understand those numbers, right? So like on YouTube and people joining us, students, we're reaching into all the universities and with the professors. Lisa, give everybody an idea of what that means when you talk about those numbers.
Okay, basically the global warming potential, and that's one of the reasons spray foam hasn't been used in some areas much, is because of that. It's all based on the blowing agents that are used, and the HFCs have been the ones that have been used for the last, many, many years. And then the HFO is the newer version of that blowing agent. That's actually mandated that all spray foam is going to have to move to that point by 2030. We've actually adopted that more aggressive technology that decreases that global warming impact. And basically that's all based on the chemicals, again, the blowing agents that are put into the foam at the time of manufacture.
Got it. Perfect. So safety, healthy, global warming benefits. We have speed of production benefits, time savings in the factory, possibly cost savings in the factory with components that are needed now to hold things together, healthier children living in these homes. Am I missing anything?
Easy to use app, no learning code.
Yeah, easy to use app, no learning, right? I mean, I think that is awesome. So there, I think we got to have you on BS Friday again too. But so, all right, guys, we're at about an hour now, and what do we do if we want to talk? So, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, you guys have a website. Go ahead, promote yourself a little bit on how you would like people to reach out to you.
Absolutely. So we have the website. It's spray-r.com. So sprayr.com. So feel free to visit us. We have a LinkedIn page as well. Feel free to follow us. And also on YouTube, you can find us as Sprayar as well. And we'll be uploading more and more stuff with time. So stay tuned. And if you have any inquiries, please feel free to reach out to Lisa regarding that. She's our business development and construction expert.
And there's actually a link right on the website that allows you to set up an appointment with me.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Lisa, we know that you know all the knowledge that we need to know. So even if it's just to talk to Lisa, you should call her. And listen, if you are not following Lisa, Tomasz, and Erik on LinkedIn or social media, you're wrong. You should be. You also need to be following them on YouTube. Or you guys aren't on YouTube yet, but on your website. Go to the website, find Sprayar, add it to your list of stuff. Right? Are you on YouTube?
We do have one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're following
there.
your lead, Dave.
What's that?
We're following your lead.
You're following the lead. I love it. Hey, you know what? I don't see anything wrong with that. I wouldn't follow too long. You guys will probably be at like 2 million followers before I reach 1,001. But hey, we hit 1,000 followers on today's show. That is awesome. We grew, and this will happen for you too. We grew 135 new followers just in the last 28 days. So it's growing, and the message is getting out there. So we're getting there. Yeah. All right, listen, everybody. During this whole process, we always ask people, what their one thing is. And I'm going to ask each of you that, whether it's personal or not. Like, what's the one thing you do every day to make your life better, the company's life better? Lisa, why don't you go first?
The one thing that I do to make my life better and the company's life better is I think I get up with the passion of wanting to, make housing better. As a young mom with a couple of kids, I learned the value of that, having affordable housing and things like that. So that's my overriding goal that kind of helps push me through tough times.
The passion is there. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, so I would say I always get up and think about what tiny little thing can I learn today, right? Or what can I improve, what I can make a little bit better, right? And do it.
I love it. I love it. Thomas, we got the same haircut. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, handsome as you. But from my side, I actually meditate, and that calms me down every morning. As the guys know, I can be a bit, I want to get stuff done, ideally yesterday, everything. So that puts me a bit down, and that's what
I think all those answers are great. We have so many young people coming into our industry that watch this show through the universities, and that one thing is something they can, from all of you, they can all implement into their lives to help them be more successful based upon personalities, because we all do things differently, right? Which I think is, phenomenal. So, all right, listen, we are at our hour. I want to thank Lisa, Eric, and Thomas. But first, before I thank you, when is Dave Cooper Live coming to your location to live stream Spray-R in action?
You tell us, when are you driving back?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny. It's like entrepreneurship. You think it's a straight line. You wake up, say, this is how we're going to go from zero money to being billionaires as we build our business. But then all of a sudden, it starts going like this and like this and like this. So, but we definitely we'll keep it on the schedule. Detroit's where we need to end up. So hopefully before the winter, we'll make it up there. But I would love to show what you guys are doing.
Love to have you.
Oh, perfect. All right, listen, everybody. Make sure you tune in Friday with Mark Bare Naked Willie and I, as we have Joe Kanapaki back on the show. There you go. Mark's putting it up there as well. Always a good time with Mark, and Joe knows his stuff when it comes to building science. So he's no stranger to our show. He will be back on, and we are truly looking forward to having him back on. And then we have a busy week coming up for you as well. So definitely tune in on Monday and Wednesday as we keep growing things. We're over in our time today, but for everybody else out there, please hit that like and share button right now and subscribe to everybody on this panel. Lisa, Eric, Thomas, don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you after the outro, and everybody else out there, welcome back from the 4th of July weekend. I hope we're adding a little sunshine to your day. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Thank you, Dave.